Welcome to Kickoff Zone. Today, we're breaking down the legend himself, Patrick Mahomes, the nightmare of 49ers fans and the man who basically went from a 3-star recruit to signing a contract that screams, "I'm basically a superhero in cleats." Born on September 17, 1995 in Tyler, Texas, Patrick Mahomes was practically destined for sports greatness, with his dad, Pat Mahomes, having conquered the mound as a Major League Baseball pitcher. Growing up, there wasn't a sport young Patrick couldn't dominate. Football, basketball, baseball, you name it, he played it and excelled. Stepping into high school, young Mahomes didn't just join the varsity team as a freshman, he became a cornerstone of it. By his senior year, he was dropping an average of 19 points and snagging 8 rebounds per game like it was nothing. Impressive, sure, but it was on the baseball diamond where Patrick truly dazzled. In his final year, he pitched a no-hitter, striking out 16 unlucky souls, and served fastballs that blazed past batters in the mid-90s. A childhood buddy and later college teammate reminisced that from the ages of 8 to 18, he saw Mahomes strike out only twice. Just twice! Patrick Mahomes caught the eye of the Detroit Tigers and was drafted, but he never inked a deal with them. Why? Because football called his name a bit louder. Echoing what we touched on earlier, Mahomes has always credited his multi-sport background as a huge boost to his quarterback prowess. As a junior, stepping into the spotlight as the varsity starting QB for the first time, Mahomes unleashed a storm, hurling the football 3,839 yards and notching 46 touchdowns. But he didn't stop there. In his senior year, he obliterated the opposition, amassing a staggering 4,619 passing yards and 50 touchdowns. And as if his arm wasn't lethal enough, he also tore up the turf with 948 rushing yards and sprinted into the end zone 15 times himself. He was so good, in fact, that he was named Max Prep's National Male Athlete of the Year. But even with this big award and all his crazy good stats, Mahomes was still rated as just a 3-star recruit by ESPN, Rivals, and 24/7 Sports. It's kind of hard to believe, right? Oh, and you can bet some folks are kicking themselves now. So this lowly 3-star recruit ended up shining in not 1, not 2, but 3 Super Bowls. And here's the kicker. Not a single D1 school thought to offer Mahomes a scholarship at first. His high school coach, Adam Cook, said the only real offers came from Rice, Texas Tech, and Houston. Talk about underestimating talent. Mahomes, ever the fighter, chose Texas Tech, ready to show everyone what they'd missed. But he had to hold his horses a bit, starting off as a backup his freshman year. It wasn't until the starter got hurt halfway through the season that Mahomes got his chance to shine. And shine he did. In the last 4 games, especially against 5th-ranked Baylor, he broke the Big 12 freshman record by throwing for 598 yards and 6 touchdowns in a single game. That's when the spotlight really started to hit Mahomes. In his sophomore year, he was all over the charts, leading in total offense per game and ranking 4th in passing yards. He even joined the elite club of just 5 quarterbacks in FBS history to sling over 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, plus dash for at least 450 yards and 10 touchdowns. Talk about a dual threat! By his junior year, Mahomes made a big decision. He left the college baseball diamond to zero in on football. And it paid off. He topped the charts again, leading the country with an average of 421 yards per game, racking up a total of 5,052 passing yards, and amassing a total offense of 5,312 yards and 53 touchdowns. Numbers like these are why highlight reels exist. Feeling ready and raring to go, Mahomes then chose to skip his senior year and dive into the 2017 NFL Draft. Despite being the starter for just a tad over 2 seasons, Mahomes left a giant footprint at Texas Tech, finishing 3rd in school history for both passing yards and touchdowns, with a whopping 11,252 yards and 93 touchdowns to his name. With stats like these, you'd think NFL teams would be tripping over themselves to draft him as their quarterback savior, right? Believe it or not, Mahomes was underestimated once again. He was the second quarterback chosen in the draft, scooped up by the Kansas City Chiefs as the 10th overall pick. To snag Mahomes, the Chiefs went all in. They handed over the 27th pick, a 2017 third-rounder, and their first-round pick for 2018 to the Buffalo Bills. Now, keep in mind, the Chiefs already had Alex Smith, a top-tier QB, calling the shots. So, using a top 10 pick on a backup? Some fans were scratching their heads, wondering if the Chiefs' front office had maybe hit their heads. But Kansas City saw something special in Mahomes, betting big on him when it seemed like a gamble to everyone watching. In Week 17 of the 2017 season, with the playoffs on the horizon and Alex Smith getting a breather, Patrick Mahomes stepped onto the field in Denver to face the Broncos. It was his moment to shine, and shine he did. Then, after the Chiefs' playoff dreams were dashed, they pulled off a move that left everyone gobsmacked. They traded Alex Smith, their Pro Bowl QB, to Washington. Just like that, the team's leader was heading east, and the message was loud and clear. Kansas City was betting everything on Patrick Mahomes. They were showing the world it was his time to lead. The 2018 season was Mahomes' time to shine, and boy, did he light up the league. In his first year as the Chiefs' starting QB and only his second year in the NFL, Mahomes didn't just play, he dominated. He earned a Pro Bowl nod, snagged the league's MVP award, was named first-team All-Pro, and led the Chiefs to the AFC title game for the first time since 1993. Talk about making an entrance. And to think, this is the same guy who was once a 3-star recruit, the one that nearly every college and draft analyst seemed to overlook. Jumping to 2019, Mahomes might have seemed a bit off his usual game, but only because he sat out a few games with a high ankle sprain. Yet he still wrapped up the regular season with impressive stats: 4,031 yards, 26 touchdowns, and just 5 interceptions. Despite the slight dip, the Chiefs clinched first in the AFC. In the divisional round against the Texans, Kansas City was in a 24-zip hole by the second quarter. It looked pretty grim, almost as if the Texans had it all locked up. But then, in a jaw-dropping turnaround, the Chiefs unleashed a storm, racking up 41 unanswered points and sealing the deal with a 51-31 victory. And who was the maestro of this remarkable comeback? None other than Patrick Mahomes, leading the charge with 321 passing yards and 5 touchdowns. Talk about a game for the ages. Ready to find out what this comeback king did next? Facing the Titans in the AFC title game, the Chiefs found themselves trailing again, this time 17-7 in the second quarter. But Mahomes wasn't about to let history repeat itself without putting up a fight. He took the game by the reins, throwing for 3 touchdowns and 294 yards, adding 53 yards on the ground and even scoring a rushing touchdown himself. His leadership powered Kansas City to a 35-24 win and a ticket to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 54 pitted the Chiefs against the 49ers, and it was déjà vu all over again. With just 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter and down 20-10, it looked like San Francisco had it in the bag. But Mahomes and the Chiefs had other plans. In an electrifying comeback, they turned the game on its head to clinch a 31-20 victory. After 50 long years, the Chiefs were Super Bowl champions again, their first since Super Bowl IV in 1970. From doubted 3-star recruit to Super Bowl MVP, earning the title as the 3rd youngest player and the youngest quarterback in NFL history to win the award. It was a moment that etched his name in the annals of football glory. Riding high on his early career success, Mahomes didn't just stop at Super Bowl laurels. In July 2020, he inked a 10-year extension with the Chiefs valued at $477 million. Plus another $26 million in possible bonuses, summing up to a jaw-dropping $503 million. It was Kansas City's way of rolling out the red carpet, essentially saying, "Please, for the love of the game, don't ever leave us. We need you." The Chiefs continued their impressive run into 2020, making it to the AFC title game for a third consecutive year and securing a spot in the Super Bowl for the second year running. However, this time around, they faced a tough defeat, losing 31-9 to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. But don't count Mahomes out just yet. His journey to Super Bowl glory was far from finished. By the time the 2022 season rolled around, despite the Chiefs being one of the top teams in the NFL, whispers of doubt began to circulate about Mahomes. 3 years removed from their last Super Bowl victory, some speculated that his success was largely due to the star-studded lineup around him, including Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, questioning the wisdom of the Chiefs' heavy investment in him. Motivated more than ever, he was determined to prove his detractors wrong once again. In that pivotal year, Mahomes took the league by storm, leading with a whopping 5,250 passing yards and 41 touchdowns, clinching his second career MVP title. The Chiefs were on fire, eyeing another deep postseason charge. However, during their divisional round face-off against the Jaguars, the tide seemed to turn. Mahomes took a brutal hit from 2 defenders, injuring his ankle in the process. It appeared as though the Chiefs' hopes were dimming, but Mahomes wasn't about to let an ankle injury sideline his team's dreams. Showing the heart of a champion, he battled through the pain and led his team to a hard-fought 27-20 victory. Super Bowl 57 was a roller coaster, and the spotlight was all on Mahomes and his team. They were trailing the Eagles by 10 points after halftime, and to top it off, Mahomes hurt his ankle again. It wasn't looking good. But if there's one thing we know about Mr. Mahomes, it's that he's not one to give up easily. And when the Eagles managed to tie the game with just 5 minutes left, Mahomes pulled off an incredible 66-yard drive that set up the game-winning field goal. The Chiefs took home the Super Bowl win, and Mahomes made history. He became the first player to bag the Super Bowl MVP, the league MVP, and lead in both passing yards and touchdowns all in one season. Fast forward to Super Bowl 58, and guess what? The Chiefs were back at it again, facing off against the 49ers in a deja vu showdown. Everyone was wondering, will the 49ers get their sweet revenge? Well, for a while there, it was anybody's guess. The first half was a bit of a snooze fest, with both teams struggling to make magic happen, thanks to a combo of turnovers and some pretty tight defense. But then, who comes out of the shadows? None other than Mr. Showtime, the Grim Reaper himself, Patrick Mahomes. Just when you thought the game was stuck in a rut, Mahomes flips the script, leading his team to snatch his third Super Bowl win and bagging his third Super Bowl MVP trophy. Yep, that puts him in legendary league status with Tom Brady and Joe Montana, making him one of only 3 players to pull off this hat trick. And there you have it, the saga of Patrick Mahomes. Well, up to this point anyway. If this ride through Mahomes' journey got you pumped, spread the word to your friends. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. You know how it works. Who's our next legend? Find out right here at Kickoff Zone.